I was thinking about this process for quite some time, and I always wanted to pivot and write a book about some of the experiences that I've personally experienced, but also through a program that I created, the Butler Elite program. In the book, it's called Oasis Springs. That's a parallel of Racine, Wisconsin. But all the kids that came up through the program and all the experiences that they went through, I'm talking about the success experiences from being able to get exposure to go see other parts of the world, but then also the sad stuff where you was going through adversity, you was having people edited out your life, you know, you had law enforcement, run-ins, you had some people that had deaths that happened very close to them. You had a shooting with a law enforcement officer who killed the kid on the playground, on the basketball court. And I wanted to tell the stories on how they pivot and made it through in spite of all of those things. And I thought it was a perfect time for it. And the idea sparked right before COVID. I was thinking about all these things and stuff that I was experiencing and seeing from the kids in our program. And then the Kobe situation happened. George Floyd happened. All these different, things happened. And it was just like, I have to do this. I have to tell this story. I have to tell these stories that's in my head that I'm just feeling organically like connected to, and I just have to just let it out. And I thought it was perfect time.
Now, you mentioned Kobe, and I wasn't able to share my condolences, and I'm so sorry. But one of the things that he did off the court was he was big into children's books. He thought a lot of people could learn from that. Did you take inspiration from the success that he had with literature and say, I want to share my story the way Kobe did? Was that something that went through your mind as well?
100%. And not only that, my big brother always told me, promised me that your second act would be, far better, more profound than your first. That was a commitment that, I obviously made to him, and I shared that with Vanessa. He's in the acknowledgments. He had did he did like a little moment with me prior to him passing where we connected and we talked about just, the writing process and, how it's so tough to be authentic and clear and real, but, it's exactly what the kids need. Even from a teaching standpoint, like, writing and in some instances, you are teaching because you're telling stories, but you're also teaching or creating visuals of the experience, and you want to create it as real as possible. And that's really what I wanted to capture. And he told me to be brave in that process. You know what I mean? Like he always told me, like, just tell your truth, be brave, and people are going to accept it or reject it, but be brave in that process. And I shared that with Vanessa. Even when I written him in the acknowledgments, I sent her some of the first press copies that we had and just let her know, like, he really inspired me to do this and go down this path. And I'm forever grateful for her sharing him with, obviously me and the rest of the world, because I was impacted and inspired by him, deeply.